This feeling, this cold knot in my gut, it just wasn't right. I tried to shake it off. I built the Lumina to be a place of light, a testament to what we could achieve when we aimed high. Every detail, from the soft glow of the lights to the way the forks felt in your hand, I'd chosen it all. It wasn't just a restaurant. It was a piece of my heart. But lately, something felt off. A quiet hum of wrongness, like a low note held too long. Tonight, I just had to see for myself. No fanfare, no special table. Just me, hidden away in a corner booth, watching. I wanted to see my vision through regular eyes, without the filter of my name. The dining room looked perfect, just like always. The servers moved like dancers. The tables were full of happy faces, and the soft chatter filled the air. Everything seemed to be in its place, just as I'd planned. But then, a sound cut through it all. Not loud, not sharp, but deep and raw. A sob. It was muffled, like someone was trying to swallow it, but it broke through the restaurant's fancy calm like a crack in a perfect vase. My eyes snapped towards the back, to the staff entrance, where the sound came from. It wasn't a sniffle from someone having a bad day. This was the kind of crying that makes your own chest ache, the kind that means a heart is breaking. My own inspection of the room was forgotten. Every bit of my attention locked onto that small doorway. I've played a lot of parts, felt a lot of fake pain, but this was real. This was the kind of pain you can't act. I shifted, leaning just enough to peek through the narrow crack of the swinging kitchen door. And there she was, Nalani, one of my newer servers. Young, black, always with a bright smile that could light up a room. But that smile was gone. She was huddled in a small storage space, tucked away in a dim corner. Her uniform was bunched up, and her shoulders shook violently. Tears streamed down her face, endless rivers reflecting the weak light. She squeezed her eyes shut, trying to stop the sound, but the cries kept coming, ripping out of her. In her hand, clutched tight like a lifeline, was a cell phone. The glow from its screen lit up her tear-streaked face. It screamed of a deeply personal crisis, but the way she tried to hide, the quiet terror in her movements, made me wonder if it was more than just a bad call. Was something happening here? In my restaurant? Under my watch? Hey, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Drop a comment and let me know how you're feeling about this story so far and where you are watching from. Some stories are too close to my heart to share on YouTube. I send those, along with little life lessons and surprises, to my email circle. If you'd like to be part of it, you can join with the link in the description. My heart sank. This wasn't the kind of excellence I wanted for the Lumina. This wasn't opportunity. This was heartbreak. I'd always tried to be a man of integrity, both on screen and off. I'd faced down fake injustice in movies, but seeing this raw, silent pain in my own place, it hit me hard. It was a punch to the gut. All my plans for a quiet night, for just observing, were gone. I felt this intense pull to go to her, to demand answers, to fix it. But something held me back. An actor knows you don't rush the scene. You need to understand the whole story before you make your move. This wasn't just about Nalani's pain. It felt like it was about the soul of the Lumina itself. The phone in her hand wasn't ringing. She was looking at something on the screen. A text message, maybe? Her thumb hovered over the reply button, trembling. She wiped her eyes roughly with the back of her hand, leaving a smear of dampness on her dark skin. The way she moved, small and hunched, made her seem tiny, like she was trying to disappear. It reminded me of a time years ago when I was young and scared and didn't know where my next meal was coming from. That feeling of being so alone, so small against a big, uncaring world. I recognized it. I saw it in her. My own successes, my own comfort, felt so far away from her right now. It made me feel like a fraud, sitting here in my quiet corner, while one of my own was breaking down just feet away. Another server, a young man I barely knew, walked past the storage nook entrance. He stopped, glanced in, then hurried on without a word, his eyes not quite meeting Nalani's. Did he see her? Did he just ignore her? Or was it something else? A fear? My questions piled up. I needed to know. I couldn't just sit here. The clock was ticking. Not just for Nalani to get back to her shift, but for me to truly understand what was happening. This wasn't just a server having a bad personal day. It was too raw, too hidden. I watched her take a shaky breath, trying to pull herself together. She wiped her face again, trying to look normal. A voice, sharp and clear, sliced through the air from deeper in the kitchen. It was Reese, my general manager. "Nalani, table 4 needs dessert menus. Stat, are you on break or working?" Nalani flinched. She quickly shoved the phone into her apron pocket. Her eyes were still red and puffy, but she plastered on a weak, wobbly smile, forcing her shoulders back. She walked out of the nook, head held high, looking as if nothing was wrong. But I saw it. The way her hand trembled as she grabbed the menus. The way her eyes darted around, like she expected someone to jump out at her. And then, as she passed Reese in the doorway, I heard her whisper, so low I almost missed it. "I just need a few more days, please. They'll cut it off." Her voice was filled with a desperate plea. Reese just nodded, a tight, unfeeling nod. "Just get those menus out, Nalani. This isn't the place for personal issues. You know the rules." Rules? I repeated to myself, the word a bitter taste in my mouth. Rules for what? For shutting down your pain? For hiding your life? They'll cut it off? What would they cut off? It wasn't just a personal crisis. It was a crisis that was now playing out here under Reese's nose, under my own roof. And suddenly, my quiet dinner, my detached observation, turned into something much bigger. This wasn't just about a server crying. It was about someone threatening her stability. And it was clear Reese knew more than he let on. My perfect restaurant, my legacy, felt like it was crumbling around me. I gripped the edge of the table, my knuckles white. My first instinct was to stride over there, pull Reese aside, and demand answers. To tell him exactly what kind of rules I expected in my establishment. But that wouldn't help Nalani. It might even make things worse for her. She was already terrified. If I stormed in as Denzel Washington, owner, manager, Reese would immediately become defensive, and Nalani might get scared or even punished for causing trouble. I had to be smart. I had to be quiet. I watched Nalani move through the dining room. She served table 4 with practiced ease, her movements smooth, her smile back in place, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. Her uniform, crisp and dark, seemed to absorb the light around her. She looked like a ghost of her former self, just going through the motions. The other customers, laughing and talking, seemed totally unaware of the deep sadness hiding behind her cheerful mask. They saw a server. I saw a soul in pain. Reese, on the other hand, moved with a different kind of precision. He was a shark, always circling, always watching. He seemed to pop up everywhere, adjusting a napkin here, nodding to a patron there, his eyes missing nothing. Nothing, it seemed, except the silent plea in Nalani's eyes. Or maybe he saw it and chose to ignore it. That thought chilled me more than anything. Could someone I trusted to run my dream really be so blind? Or worse, uncaring? I pulled out my phone, pretending to check messages. But really, I was looking at the Lumina's employee directory on my internal owner's app. Nalani. Full name, Nalani Johnson. Her start date was 6 months ago. She lived in Inglewood, about an hour's drive from here with traffic. I also saw a note that she was a single mother. That hit me hard. A single mother, struggling, trying to keep a job, trying to keep her family afloat. And they'll cut it off. My mind raced, putting pieces together. Utilities, childcare, rent, all of it could lead to that kind of quiet desperation. I remembered a conversation I had with Reese about Nalani a few weeks back. I had been visiting the restaurant briefly, just checking in. I'd seen Nalani laughing with a customer, her smile truly radiant. I'd even stopped to tell Reese how impressed I was with her energy. Nalani? Oh yes, she's a bright spot, Reese had said, adjusting the knot of his tie. Very hard-working, but a bit emotional sometimes. She had some issues with her shifts last month, needed some time off for a family matter. I had to remind her that while we value our staff, the Lumina is a high-volume establishment. Personal matters can't get in the way of excellent service. At the time, I just nodded, thinking Reese was simply being a diligent manager, focused on the business. Now, his words felt cold, almost accusing. Emotional. Personal matters can't get in the way. It sounded less like concern and more like a warning. I decided I needed to get closer, but not to Nalani directly. I needed to see how Reese truly operated. I flagged down a passing server, not Nalani. "Excuse me," I said, putting on my most polite, slightly anonymous customer voice. "Could you tell me who the general manager is tonight? I had a quick question about a special event." The young server, a polite young man named Marcus, pointed to Reese. "That's Mr. Davies, sir. He's very busy, but I can ask him if he has a moment." No, thank you." I waved him off. "I'll catch him if he passes by." I didn't want to bring Reese to me. I wanted to observe him in his natural state. I watched Reese glide through the room, a ghost in a perfectly tailored suit. He stopped at a table near the kitchen entrance, speaking to a group of men in expensive suits. They laughed, and Reese offered a small, practiced smile. He was good at his job, no doubt. He kept the place running like a Swiss watch. But a Swiss watch has no heart. My gaze drifted back to Nalani. She was clearing a table, stacking plates with an almost mechanical rhythm. Her eyes still had that haunted look. I saw her glance nervously at the clock on the wall above the kitchen door. It was almost 9 o'clock. Was there something after her shift? Then I saw something else. A large, gruff-looking man, dressed in a delivery uniform, entered through the back service door, carrying a stack of fresh linens. He bumped into Nalani accidentally, making her drop a fork. "Watch it, girl," he grumbled, not even looking at her. Nalani didn't say a word. She just quickly bent down, picked up the fork, and put it on her tray. Her shoulders seemed to slump even further. That small moment, that complete lack of respect or apology, stung me. It was a tiny thing, but it added to the picture of someone who felt invisible, unimportant. A moment later, Reese stopped near the delivery man, signing a clipboard. As the delivery man turned to leave, I heard him speak to Reese in a low voice. "Heard you got another one falling behind. Reese, that little one. Nalani, my boy says she's late on the rent again for his building. He's got no patience this time. Said he's giving her till Monday." My blood ran cold. Rent. That was it. They'll cut it off. Reese owned several rental properties in the area. He was Nalani's landlord, and his boy was likely his son or a manager who handled the properties. The delivery man worked for Reese too, maybe? My mind reeled. This wasn't just about a manager being unsympathetic. This was a direct conflict of interest. Reese wasn't just her boss. He was the man who could make her homeless. Reese just gave a slight shrug, signing the clipboard with a flourish. "That's between her and the building manager, Frank. I keep business separate from personal. She's got to meet her obligations." He then clapped Frank on the shoulder. "Good to see you. Tell your boy to send the updated ledger." My jaw tightened. My heart felt like it was doing somersaults in my chest. Separate business from personal? He was her landlord. He controlled her housing, and he knew she was behind on rent, even while she was begging him for a few more days, right here in my restaurant. The betrayal hit me hard and fast. It wasn't just that he was uncaring. It was that he was involved, deeply involved, and using his power in a way that felt predatory, not helpful. All the pride I had in the Lumina, in what I thought it represented, felt like dust in my mouth. This wasn't opportunity. It was a trap. Nalani wasn't just an employee. She was a tenant, vulnerable and caught. And Reese, my trusted general manager, was not just aware of her pain. He was a direct part of it. He was not just upholding the rules of the restaurant. He was upholding his own rules as a landlord, seemingly without any mercy or understanding, even when he could clearly see the distress it caused. I looked at Nalani again, her forced smile, her trembling hands. The phone clutched earlier, probably a desperate call about her rent, a plea for more time she likely didn't get. And here, she was begging Reese, her boss and her landlord, for a few more days, and he dismissed her with a cold, "This isn't the place for personal issues." This was a betrayal. A betrayal of the trust one placed in Reese, a betrayal of the values I thought the Lumina stood for, and a betrayal of the basic human decency I expected from anyone working for me. My vision for this place, a place of excellence and opportunity, felt stained. It was no longer a question of if I would intervene, but how, and what would happen to Nalani, caught in the middle of it all. And what about Reese? How could I have been so blind? This wasn't just a business problem, it was a moral one, and I was sitting right in the middle of it. The quiet unease I felt before had turned into a burning rage, a clear understanding that something rotten was at the core of my beautiful creation. I had to fix it, for Nalani, for the Lumina, and for myself. My blood felt hot, thrumming in my ears. The air in the elegant dining room, once so refined, now felt thick with a foul smell I couldn't place. This wasn't just a business problem. It was a moral wound, cut deep into the heart of everything I believed in. I couldn't sit there any longer, pretending to be just another customer. Every instinct screamed for me to act, to tear down this carefully built lie. But how? If I revealed myself, Reese would immediately go on the defensive, covering his tracks. Nalani, already fragile, would be caught in the crossfire, potentially losing her job, her home, everything. My goal wasn't just to punish Reese. It was to protect Nalani, to truly understand what she was going through and offer real help. I needed to be smart, to be subtle, even now with rage burning holes in my gut. I leaned back in the booth, trying to calm my breathing. My eyes scanned the room, looking for an opportunity, any small opening. Nalani was still moving, clearing tables, her motions fluid but empty. Reese was at the host stand, laughing too loudly with a couple. He looked like the picture of success, a man in control. The thought of his cold indifference to Nalani's plight, his active role in her suffering, twisted my stomach. A sudden flash of movement caught my eye. Nalani dropped a stack of menus, and they fanned across the floor with a soft thud. It wasn't loud, but in the hum of the restaurant, it felt like a tiny explosion. Reese, from across the room, looked up, a sharp, almost annoyed look flashing across his face. Nalani quickly bent to pick them up, her face flushed with embarrassment. Another server, Marcus, came over to help her. "Careful, Nalani," Marcus said kindly, stacking the menus for her. "Long night." Nalani just nodded, not looking at him, her eyes fixed on the task. Reese had already turned back to his conversation, seemingly dismissing the small incident. But I saw the way Nalani's shoulders slumped, the quick, almost furtive glance she shot at Reese, as if expecting to be scolded. It was a small thing, but it told me a lot. She was living in fear, even for a dropped menu. This was my moment. I knew I couldn't confront Reese directly, not yet. I needed to get to Nalani first, to offer some quiet support, to let her know she wasn't alone. But how, without drawing attention? I stood up, adjusting my hat, and started to walk toward the kitchen entrance, pretending to head for the restrooms. As I passed Nalani, who was now polishing silverware at a small side station, I subtly slowed. My voice, usually deep and resonant, was kept low, almost a murmur, so only she might hear it. "Excuse me?" I said, my gaze sweeping the room as if I was just a customer asking for directions. "Is there a quiet corner, maybe near the back, where I could make a private phone call? My phone battery is low, and I need to plug it in quickly." Nalani looked up, startled. Her eyes, still red-rimmed, met mine. For a split second, I saw a flicker of recognition. Then it vanished, replaced by her practiced server's smile. She probably just thought I looked familiar, like a lot of people might. Yes, sir," she said, her voice a little shaky. "The restrooms are just past the kitchen entrance, and there's a small waiting area there. It has an outlet." She gestured vaguely. "Thank you," I replied, then leaned in just a fraction, my voice barely a whisper. "You know, your smile is the brightest thing in this whole place. Don't let anyone take that away from you." Her eyes widened. The practiced smile faltered, and a genuine, though surprised, look crossed her face. Before she could react, I moved past her, quickly heading towards the kitchen doors. I didn't want to linger, didn't want Reese to see me talking to her. I wanted her to carry that message, that small spark of hope, without immediate pressure. I pushed through the swinging doors into the noisy, hot kitchen. The clatter of pans, the sizzle of food, the shouts of chefs. It was a different world back here. I moved past the organized chaos, ignoring the quick, curious glances from the kitchen staff, and found the small, dim waiting area Nalani had mentioned. It was a narrow hallway with a single bench and a faded poster of old Hollywood. And an outlet. I pulled out my phone, plugged it in and sat down, pretending to check emails. But my mind was racing. That message to Nalani, that simple sentence, was my point of no return. I had officially stepped in. I had made contact. A few minutes later, Marcus, the polite young server, came through the kitchen. He saw me and nodded. "Everything okay, sir?" "Yes, thank you," I said, trying to sound casual. "Just catching up on some work." I paused, then added, "You seem like a good team here. How do you find working with Mr. Davies?" Marcus hesitated, glancing around. "Mr. Davies is efficient, sir. Very focused on the restaurant's reputation. He demands the best." He shuffled his feet. "Some of us, we try our best. It's a tough job." "I can imagine," I said, watching him closely. "What about Nalani? She seems very dedicated." Marcus's expression softened. "Nalani's great, always smiling no matter what. She's got it rough, though. Single mom, works so hard. I heard about her rent problem." He lowered his voice. "It's hard, you know? Mr. Davies owns a lot of those apartments in Inglewood. He expects his rent on time no matter what. He's tough on that stuff. There have been other staff members who had issues, and then they just left." My suspicion was confirmed. Reese's dual role wasn't just a conflict of interest. It was a weapon. Other staff members. This wasn't an isolated incident with Nalani. This was a pattern. The restaurant, meant to be a place of opportunity, was being used as a lever, a means of control. And I, by my absence, had allowed it. "Do you know when her rent is due?" I asked, my voice carefully neutral. Marcus shook his head. "Not exactly, sir, but soon. Like very soon. I heard Monday. The word is, if she doesn't pay, he'll start eviction papers. She's so worried about her little girl." My heart ached. "His boy he talked about earlier, the building manager. Is that his son?" Marcus nodded. "Yeah, Frank Davies Jr., he's even tougher than his dad. If you can believe it. No leeway at all." So the moral complexity of Reese was perhaps less complex than I thought. It was ambition, control, and a hard-line approach to business, extending even to the housing of his own employees. He might believe he was running a tight ship, upholding excellence. But it was at the expense of human dignity. He saw people as assets or liabilities, not as individuals with lives and struggles. My determination hardened. This was a deeper rot than just one unhappy server. I thanked Marcus, who quickly disappeared back into the kitchen. My phone, forgotten, beeped that it was fully charged. I unplugged it, my mind now clear, focused. The quiet unease had turned to anger, then to a fierce resolve. I had to create a distraction, a reason for Reese to come to me, where I could control the conversation, at least initially. I walked back into the main dining room, scanning for Reese. He was still at the host's stand. I walked straight to an empty table in the middle of the room, one of the more prominent spots. I pulled out a chair, letting it scrape loudly against the polished floor. Then, I sat down, pulled out my phone, and started scrolling through my contacts, making it obvious I was a guest still present, not ready to leave. I made sure my face was visible, no hat pulled low. I was ready to be seen. Reese, ever vigilant, noticed the sound. He turned, his eyes sweeping the room. His gaze landed on me. For a moment, his perfect professional smile faltered. His eyes widened just a fraction. It was quick, almost imperceptible, but I saw it. The recognition was there now. The anonymous customer was gone. Denzel Washington was in his restaurant. His face went from surprise to a carefully constructed calm, but I could almost hear the gears turning in his head. He walked toward my table, his movements still precise, but a new tension in his shoulders. "Mr. Washington," he said, his voice smooth, but I heard the slight tremor underneath. "What a pleasant surprise. We weren't expecting you tonight." "No," I said, my voice quiet, cutting through the restaurant's hum like a sharp knife. "I imagine you weren't." I looked him straight in the eye, letting him feel the weight of my gaze, the full force of my displeasure. The moral confusion was gone, replaced by absolute certainty. This was personal now, and it was just getting started. This was my restaurant, my vision, and I would not let it be corrupted. I would save Nalani, and in doing so, perhaps save the Lumina itself. My commitment was irrevocable. The game was on. "No," I said, my voice quiet, cutting through the restaurant's hum like a sharp knife. "I imagine you weren't." I looked him straight in the eye, letting him feel the weight of my gaze, the full force of my displeasure. The moral confusion was gone, replaced by absolute certainty. This was personal now, and it was just getting started. This was my restaurant, my vision, and I would not let it be corrupted. I would save Nalani, and in doing so, perhaps save the Lumina itself. My commitment was irrevocable. The game was on. Reese cleared his throat, adjusting the knot of his tie. His smile was still there, but it was thinner now, a mask that wasn't quite fitting. "Mr. Washington, I assure you, everything is running smoothly. A small, unexpected visit is always welcome, of course. Is there anything I can get for you? A fresh dish? A specific wine?" He waved a hand towards a passing server, trying to project normal service. I didn't let him change the subject. "I wasn't here for the food, Reese. I was here to feel the pulse of my establishment. And what I felt tonight, it wasn't the strong, steady beat I expected." My eyes flickered towards the kitchen door, then back to him. "I saw one of your servers, Nalani." She looked deeply troubled. "Tell me, Reese, what's happening with my staff?" Reese's smooth facade almost cracked. A tiny muscle in his jaw jumped. "Nalani? Oh, she's a wonderful girl, sir. A little sensitive, perhaps. She's new, still adjusting to the pace. Probably a personal matter, nothing related to her work here. We encourage our team to leave personal issues at home, of course, to maintain professionalism." He spoke quickly, trying to dismiss it, to box it away neatly. He almost sounded like he was reading from a handbook. "A personal matter that makes a person sob in a dark corner of my kitchen?" I kept my voice level, but the intensity in my eyes was a silent scream. "That's not sensitivity, Reese. That's pain. And when it happens on my property, under my care, it becomes my business. My responsibility." I leaned forward slightly, making him feel the weight of my words. "I founded the Lumina to be a place of opportunity, a place where people could thrive, not a place where they're forced to hide their heartbreak." He shifted his weight, looking uncomfortable. "I understand your concern, sir, and I assure you, I manage my team with fairness and respect. Nalani is valued. If there's an issue, I will address it. Perhaps a quiet word, a check-in. Maybe she just needs a bit of extra support, some time off." He offered it like a peace offering, a way to make the problem disappear quickly. A false resolution, I realized, meant to appease me without truly fixing anything. I thought about Marcus's words. Mr. Davies owns a lot of those apartments in Inglewood. He expects his rent on time, no matter what. He's tough on that stuff. I heard about her rent problem, and the kicker, if she doesn't pay, he'll start eviction papers. Reese wasn't offering support, he was trying to control the narrative. Time off would just mean lost wages for Nalani, making her situation worse, not better. And a quiet word with him? It would probably be a threat. "No, Reese," I said, cutting through his rehearsed offer. "This isn't just about a quiet word, and it's not about time off. This is about deeper issues. I need to understand the true well-being of my staff. Not just Nalani, but everyone. And I need to understand it from them, not from a report filtered through you." Reese stiffened. His eyes narrowed almost imperceptibly. Mr. Washington, with all due respect, managing the staff is my primary role. I have procedures in place to handle employee relations. Intervening directly might disrupt the established structure. The words were polite, but the tone was a warning. He was defending his territory, his control. And sometimes established structures can become rigid. They can become blind to the human element they're meant to serve. I leaned back, observing him. I'll be staying in Los Angeles for the next few days. I expect to have a private conversation with Nalani tomorrow morning, and I'd like a full, honest account of her situation. You will arrange it, and it will be a conversation where she feels safe to speak freely. Is that understood? His face went pale, but he quickly regained composure. Yes, sir. Of course, Mr. Washington. Whatever you wish. I'll make the arrangements first thing. He didn't like it. I could see the wheels turning in his head, trying to figure out how to manage this, how to spin it, how to protect himself. He was already planning. I knew it. As he walked away, back towards the host's stand, I subtly glanced across the dining room. Nalani was still at her side station, her back mostly to us. But I saw her shoulders slump further. Was she listening? Did she feel the tension? My simple words of encouragement earlier now felt like they might have put her in even more danger. The dread built in my chest. What would Reese do between now and tomorrow morning? He had too much to lose. I pulled out my phone again, pretending to check something important. My mind was racing, trying to anticipate Reese's next move. He was a man who put reputation and control above all else. He would try to get to Nalani first, to silence her, to pressure her into saying what he wanted. Or worse, he might try to remove her from the picture entirely. The Monday deadline, Marcus had said. Eviction papers. This wasn't just about a job. It was about her home, her child. My heart squeezed. I needed to act, and quickly. I couldn't leave Nalani alone, vulnerable to Reese's machinations. The restaurant was still buzzing, but for me, the joyous noise had become a low thrum of danger. I got up from the table, signaling to a busboy to clear it. I made my way to the exit, but instead of leaving, I turned a corner, heading towards the small, empty waiting area near the kitchen where I had just been. I took a seat on the faded bench, out of sight from the main dining room, but close enough to hear the sounds of the kitchen and, hopefully, catch a glimpse of Nalani. I pulled out my phone again, not to check emails this time, but to type a quick, cautious message to my assistant. Leo. *Leo emergency. Need you to quietly find out everything you can about the ownership and management of the apartment buildings in Inglewood connected to Reese Davies. Specifically, any properties where Lumina staff might be tenants. Need any tenant issues, eviction notices, everything. Top priority. Discretion is key. And have a lawyer on standby. *. I pressed send, my thumb lingering on the screen. The air in the small hallway felt heavy. The clatter from the kitchen was a restless drumbeat. I had given Reese an order, but he was a cunning man. He wouldn't just roll over. He would fight back, and Nalani would be caught in the crossfire. A few minutes later, I saw Nalani emerge from the kitchen, carrying a tray of clean glasses. She looked tired, her movements stiff. She caught my eye as she passed the hallway, a flash of surprise, then something else, recognition, maybe even a tiny spark of curiosity, in her red-rimmed eyes. The practiced smile was gone, replaced by a raw vulnerability. She seemed to hesitate for a fraction of a second, her gaze holding mine, before she moved on, her shoulders slumping a little more with each step. In that brief moment, something shifted in me. It wasn't just about my restaurant's integrity anymore, or even about justice. It was about her, about the quiet strength in her tired eyes, the bravery of her forced smile. I felt a powerful, protective instinct rise within me, a deep desire to shield her from the storm that was coming. This wasn't just a mission, it was personal. And I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my bones, that I wouldn't leave until she was safe. The clock was ticking, and Monday felt too close. The pressure was building, for all of us. The hallway bench was cold beneath me, but my blood felt hot. Every sound from the kitchen, the clatter of plates, the murmur of voices, now held a new, sinister edge. I watched Nalani disappear again, her tired posture a silent question mark hanging in the air. What would Reese do? The thought kept turning in my head like a sharp key. He was a manager, yes, but also a smart man, driven by his own self-interest. He had too much to lose for him to just stand by and let me uncover his potential failings. My phone buzzed softly in my hand, pulling me from my worried thoughts. It was Leo. That was fast. My assistant was usually quick, but this felt almost instant. A short message, just a few lines. I opened it, my eyes scanning the text. Asterisk Mr. Washington, preliminary findings on Inglewood Properties. The company Veritas Holdings LLC owns a significant number of apartment buildings in that district, including the one listed for Nalani. The registered agent and primary owner of Veritas Holdings LLC is Reese Davies. Further research suggests this isn't just a coincidence. This Reese Davies has a significant history of aggressive tenant management and rapid evictions. More details pending, but initial assessment suggests direct involvement. Asterisk. The words blurred for a moment, then snapped into sharp focus. Reese Davies. The same name. My general manager. The man I had just confronted, the man I had trusted to run my restaurant, was the same man threatening Nalani with eviction. Marcus Davies, the tough landlord, was just a front, a name used to shield the real power. Reese wasn't just aware of Nalani's rent problem. He was the problem. He wasn't just managing the properties. He owned them, or at least controlled them. A cold, heavy stone settled in my gut. My vision for the Lumina, this place of opportunity and excellence, felt like it was crumbling around me. I had built this restaurant as a beacon, a place where people could thrive, where talent was nurtured, where dignity was paramount. And all this time, the man I put in charge, the man who smiled and bowed and assured me of fairness and respect, was quietly preying on my own staff. On Nalani, I remembered his slick answers, his calm denials, his offer of time off. An offer that would only make Nalani's rent situation worse, pushing her closer to the edge. He was trying to eliminate the problem by making it worse, by getting her out of sight. My mind raced back through our conversation moments ago. We encourage our team to leave personal issues at home, of course, to maintain professionalism. He hadn't been dismissing it. He had been hiding it, controlling the damage, protecting himself. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. I had been so sure I was seeing the truth, so certain of my own judgment. I had walked in here, an actor, a man used to seeing beyond the surface, convinced I was piercing through the veneer of celebrity and getting to the pulse of my establishment. But I had been blind. Willfully blind, perhaps, because the truth was too uncomfortable to consider. I had trusted Reese implicitly, allowing him to be the face, the filter, the gatekeeper, and he had used that trust to build his own dark kingdom, extending his reach beyond the restaurant walls and into the very lives of my employees. The moral confusion I'd felt earlier, before confronting Reese, now seemed tragically naive. It wasn't about a manager who was merely detached or overly strict. This was about calculated, cynical exploitation. Reese wasn't just a cog in a flawed system. He was the system, twisted and corrupt, using his position within my restaurant to identify vulnerable targets, then preying on them through his other business. The Lumina, my dream, was being used as a hunting ground. The image of Nalani, hunched and sobbing in the dimly lit storage nook, flashed in my mind. Her raw, uncontrolled pain. And I had been sitting there, trying to piece together a puzzle, while the man responsible was just feet away, maintaining his professional facade. The protective instinct I'd felt for her moments ago intensified, but it was now laced with a bitter sting of regret and self-recrimination. My earlier words of encouragement to her, the subtle nod, my vow to save the Lumina itself, they felt hollow, even dangerous. I had told Reese I would speak to Nalani tomorrow, effectively giving him a full night to prepare her, to threaten her, to silence her. I had put her in even more direct danger, exposing her vulnerability to the very man who was exploiting it. My heart pounded with a desperate urgency. This wasn't just about a job. It was about her home, her child. Those words, Marcus's words, now echoed with a chilling clarity, directly implicating Reese. He was threatening a single mother's security, her child's shelter, for a few dollars, all while drawing a salary from my restaurant, a restaurant built on the promise of opportunity. The world suddenly felt very small, very claustrophobic. The elegant dining room, once a symbol of my achievement, now felt like an elaborate cage. The hum of satisfied patrons, once music to my ears, was a mocking drone. I felt a profound sense of isolation. Reese wasn't just my general manager. He was now my adversary, deeply embedded in the very structure I had created. Who else knew? Was anyone else complicit? Could I trust anyone here? My entire support system, the operational backbone of the Lumina, felt compromised. My high personal stakes weren't just about the restaurant's reputation anymore, or even my legacy. They were about the tangible, immediate threat to Nalani, to her child, to every employee who might be unknowingly vulnerable to Reese's schemes. My integrity, my belief in creating a truly just and excellent space, was being tested in the cruelest possible way. It wasn't just about the Lumina's soul. It was about the tangible souls being crushed beneath the weight of this man's greed. The romance of my deep empathy for Nalani, that connection I felt to her quiet strength and forced smile, now crashed against the rocks of this devastating truth. My desire to help her, to protect her, felt impossibly difficult, fraught with peril. It wasn't going to be a simple intervention. It was going to be a war waged within my own walls, against a man I had empowered. I had given Reese the night. That was a mistake. I couldn't wait until tomorrow morning. I couldn't leave Nalani to face him alone, or to endure another moment under his silent threat. I needed to move, to act, to stop the clock that was ticking towards Monday's eviction deadline. My calm, calculated approach was no longer an option. This required immediate, decisive action. My blood ran cold, then hot again with a fierce, unwavering resolve. The game was indeed on, but I had been playing by the wrong rules. I needed to change them, and I needed to do it now. The Lumina and Nalani deserved nothing less. The crushing weight of my mistake settled over me like a shroud. I had given Reese the night, a full night, to prepare Nalani, to threaten her, to silence her. The thought sent a jolt of icy fear through me. My stomach clenched, and the expensive food I'd barely touched suddenly felt like ash in my mouth. I had been so focused on my grand plan, on uncovering the truth in a measured, intelligent way, that I'd walked right into a trap, my own ego blinding me. I had assumed Reese was just a detached manager, not a predator operating under my roof. The elegant dining room, usually a source of quiet pride, now felt like a stage for a cruel play, and I was just a clueless audience member. Every clink of cutlery, every ripple of laughter from the diners, seemed to mock my foolishness. How could I have been so blind? I, who had built a career on seeing past the surface, on understanding human darkness and light, had missed the sinister truth right under my nose. The protective instinct I'd felt for Nalani was now a frantic, gnawing anxiety. I pictured her tired face, the lingering vulnerability in her eyes. I had looked right at her and then walked away, leaving her to the wolf I had invited into the sheepfold. What could I do? My mind raced, trying to grasp at solutions, but each one felt like grabbing smoke. Confront Reese now? I imagined him, calm and collected, wiping away any trace of his schemes. He was a smart man, cunning. If I stormed out of my booth and accused him, he'd deny everything. He'd probably have a quick story ready, maybe even try to make Nalani look unstable. And what about proof? Leo's message was preliminary findings. It wasn't enough to bring the police in, not yet. Not without concrete evidence linking Reese Davies, the landlord, to Reese, my general manager, beyond a shared name and Leo's suspicion. The law was slow, and Nalani needed help now. If I accused him, he could turn on Nalani immediately, making her life even harder, maybe even kicking her out of her apartment tonight. That was a risk I couldn't take. Call Leo back. Demand more information? He was good, fast, but even he needed time. Time was what Nalani didn't have. Monday felt like a giant, ticking bomb. And what if Reese found out I knew? He could disappear, destroy records, or worse, use his power to make Nalani's situation truly hopeless. He controlled her home, her job. He held all the cards. This wasn't just about a job. It was about her home, her child. Those words echoed, cold and clear. My hands trembled slightly as I picked up my water glass, the ice clinking against the rim. I took a slow sip, trying to calm the frantic drumbeat in my chest. I had to think. If I couldn't confront him, and I couldn't wait, then what? My options felt like a narrow hallway, each door leading to a different kind of disaster. Then, through the elegant archway that led towards the kitchen, I saw him. Reese. He stood near the entrance to the main dining room, his back to me, talking to one of the junior servers. His posture was relaxed, his movements smooth. He was smiling, a practiced, polite smile that probably charmed every new hire and every visiting journalist. He looked utterly in control, a puppet master pulling strings I hadn't even known existed. The sight ignited a flash of pure, cold fury in me. He was playing me, playing all of us. He was a snake in my garden, and I had welcomed him. He turned slightly, and I quickly lowered my head, pretending to check a message on my phone. His eyes, even from this distance, seemed to glide over the room, assessing, calculating. He was always watching, always in charge. But what was he watching for? Just perfection, or for weaknesses he could exploit? The thought chilled me to the bone. My internal struggle was a raging storm, tearing at my sense of purpose. I had come here to fix things, to reconnect. Now I was trapped, frozen by the very threat I had unknowingly exposed. I wanted to scream, to stand up and expose him right there, to protect Nalani. But that would only make things worse, potentially for her. I was caught between my desire for justice and the desperate need to ensure her safety. Felt like a terrible choice, a moral dilemma with no good answer. A quiet voice, a waiter I recognized as Michael, approached my table. "Everything all right, sir? Can I get you anything else?" I looked up, forcing a neutral expression. "No, thank you, Michael. Just finishing up." He nodded, polite and professional. "Very good, sir." He moved on, oblivious. Everyone was oblivious, bathed in the deceptive glow of the lumina. My isolation felt profound. I was Denzel Washington, a man of power and influence, and yet I felt utterly helpless, unable to protect someone directly in front of me. I glanced towards the kitchen in trance again. Nalani wasn't there. She was probably still working, moving through the bustling kitchen, carrying trays, keeping her head down, trying to survive. The image of her trying to hide her tears, her shoulders shaking, was burned into my mind. She was so vulnerable, so alone in her struggle. The only way, I realized with a sickening lurch, was to reach her directly. But how? She was a server, always on the move, always busy. And more importantly, how could I approach her without Reese seeing? Without putting her in more immediate danger? If Reese saw me, the incognito actor, talking to a server he was actively exploiting, he would know I was onto him. And then the game would be truly on, with Nalani as the likely first casualty. I had to get her out of here, out of his reach, even for a moment. But that meant revealing myself and breaking the carefully built anonymity that allowed me to observe. It meant sacrificing my observation period, my calm approach. It meant jumping into the fire. It meant putting myself in a direct conflict with Reese, a conflict I wasn't fully ready for, not without more proof. The restaurant was still humming, the noise a shield for my frantic thoughts. I watched a busboy clear a nearby table, his movements brisk and efficient. The normalcy of it all felt like a twisted dream. It was a beautiful place, the lumina, but beneath its polished surface, something rotten was growing. And I, its creator, had let it happen. I needed to create a diversion, something to get Nalani away from the watchful eyes of Reese, even for a few minutes. But what? And how? Every idea felt like a gamble with impossibly high stakes. If I failed, if Reese found out, Nalani could lose her job, her home, everything. The guilt was a heavy weight, pressing down on my chest. Then I saw her again. Nalani. She emerged from the kitchen, carrying a tray of drinks, her face still a little pale, but her movements steady. She was heading towards a large table near the back, a table partially hidden by a tall, decorative plant. It was a chance. A slim one, but a chance. My heart pounded with a mix of fear and desperate resolve. This wasn't about the restaurant's reputation anymore or my legacy. It was purely about her. About a young woman caught in a trap, struggling for dignity and survival. My carefully laid plans for a quiet investigation, for a controlled reveal, were shattered. I had to throw away the script. I stood up slowly, pushing my chair back with a soft scrape. My hands were balled into fists inside my pockets. I felt every eye in the room, even if no one was actually looking. The weight of my fame, usually a burden, now felt like a potential tool, a shield. But using it meant exposing myself, changing the dynamic, and risking everything. I began to walk, not towards the exit, but subtly, carefully, towards the back of the dining room. Towards the hidden table where Nalani was now taking drink orders. My eyes were fixed on her, on the slight tremor in her hands as she wrote. The world outside that small circle of light faded. It was just her and me, and the shadow of Reese, lurking somewhere, watching. I knew, with terrible certainty, that this was the point of no return. I was about to walk into the storm, not to observe it, but to stand in its very center. And the consequences for Nalani and for me would be immense. Despair was a bitter taste in my mouth, but it was mixed with a fierce, unwavering purpose. The fight for Nalani and for the Lumina had just become very, very real and very, very dangerous. I was no longer a silent observer. I was a target. My legs felt heavy, each step a deliberate effort against the invisible force pushing me back. The low hum of conversations, the clinking of glasses, it all turned into a dull roar in my ears. I kept my head down, trying to appear like any other diner heading to the back. Maybe to the restroom, maybe just stretching my legs. My eyes, though, were locked on Nalani. She was near that big plant, holding a small notepad, listening intently to a woman at the table. Her back was mostly to me, but I could still see the slight curve of her shoulders, the way she tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear. She was trying to be strong, to be invisible, but I saw her. As I got closer, I saw a gap, just enough space for me to step beside her table, out of Reese's direct line of sight from the main entrance. It was risky, incredibly risky. If Reese saw me pulling her aside, if he even suspected I was talking to her, it could go bad. Fast. But waiting wasn't an option. Monday was too far away. I reached the edge of the table, pretending to adjust my jacket, then leaned in slightly. "Excuse me," I said, my voice low, barely a whisper over the restaurant noise. "Nalani." She jumped, startled, her head snapping towards me. Her eyes widened, a flicker of confusion, then recognition, then sheer panic flashed across her face. My heart sank. She knew who I was, and the last thing she wanted was the owner of the restaurant. Me seeing her this way, perhaps questioning her work. She probably thought she was in trouble. "And Mr. Washington?" she stammered, her voice barely audible. The color drained from her face. She looked like a trapped bird. "I need to speak with you," I said, cutting straight to it, no time for pleasantries. I kept my voice calm, but urgent. "Right now. Away from here." My gaze swept quickly around the dining room. Reese wasn't in sight, but he could be anywhere. "It's important. About your situation." Her eyes darted around too, then back to mine, filled with a mix of terror and disbelief. My situation?" she whispered, confused. I don't understand, sir. Is there a problem with my service?" She clutched her notepad tighter, her knuckles white. She was trying to act normal, trying to pretend she didn't know what I was talking about. It was heartbreaking to watch. "No, Nalani, not your service," I reassured her, lowering my voice even more. "Your apartment. Reese, I know what he's doing. I know about Monday." The words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered. I watched as the panic in her eyes shifted, changed. It turned into a deeper kind of fear, a primal one. It wasn't just about losing her job anymore. It was about her carefully built wall crumbling. She looked at me, then at the table she was serving. I can't just leave, Mr. Washington. I have orders. I'm on shift." Her voice was shaking. Reese, he'll be furious. He'll fire me. You think that's all he'll do? I asked, my voice laced with a frustration I couldn't hide. I didn't mean it to sound harsh, but the reality of her danger, and my part in letting it happen, burned inside me. He controls your home, Nalani. He's threatening you. He's a predator. Do you really think he cares about your job performance if you cross him? Her eyes welled up again, a fresh wave of tears. He said if I tell anyone, he'd make sure I lose everything. My job, my apartment, even my child, sir. He said he'd make sure I was homeless, that social services would see I couldn't provide. Her voice cracked, unable to finish. The raw despair I'd heard in the back of the kitchen. It was right here, in front of me, real and agonizing. My gut twisted. This was far worse than I had imagined. His threat against her child. This wasn't just about money or power. It was about crushing a human spirit. My earlier caution, my careful plan for gathering evidence, it all felt pointless, even cruel, in the face of this immediate, stark terror. This was the impossible choice. I had to act now, consequences be damned. My reputation, my restaurant's smooth operation, my carefully guarded privacy. It all meant nothing compared to this young woman's safety, her child's future. Nalani, listen to me, I said, my voice firmer, cutting through the restaurant's noise and her rising panic. You are not going to lose anything more. You are coming with me. Now. She shook her head, tears streaming freely down her face, but still trying to hold it together, to keep serving. I can't. I can't. What about my shift? What about my child? I have to go pick her up after this. He'll know. He'll find me. I can't risk it. He won't find you. I won't let him. I promised. The words feeling huge, monumental. This was it. No more hiding. My security team will meet us outside. They'll take you somewhere safe. A hotel tonight. Somewhere Reese will never find you. You can bring your child there. I needed to give her a concrete plan, something real to hold on to, not just a vague promise. I'll make sure you have money, enough for a deposit on a new place, enough to take care of everything you need. She stared at me, her mouth slightly open, tears still falling. It was like she couldn't process what I was saying. Her brain, conditioned by fear and survival, couldn't grasp this sudden, overwhelming offer of help. But, my job, she whispered. This is the best job I've had in years. The tips. You're not losing your job, I said, making another promise I knew I would have to fight for. You're getting a better one, a safe one, with people who will protect you. I own this place, Nalani. Reese works for me. He's not getting away with this. The fury was back, cold and sharp. Just then, from the corner of my eye, I saw movement. Reese. He was walking out of the kitchen, a phone pressed to his ear, his gaze sweeping the room. His eyes paused, just for a second, on my corner booth. Empty now, then they drifted towards Nalani and me. His polite smile faltered. His body language stiffened, subtle but noticeable. He narrowed his eyes, trying to make sense of me, a diner, talking so intently to one of his servers. He was too far to hear, but not too far to see. He's watching us? I whispered, not looking away from Nalani. You have to make a choice, Nalani. Right now. You can stay here and face him alone on Monday. Or you can come with me, and I promise you, I will make sure you and your child are safe. And Reese Davies will pay for what he's done. Her chest heaved. She looked from me to the looming figure of Reese, then back to me. The weight of the choice was crushing her. It was the moment of transformation, not just for her, but for me too. I was no longer the distant owner, but a man putting everything on the line, risking a public scene, risking my carefully managed image to help someone who had been broken under my watch. My carefully guarded control was gone, replaced by a desperate, protective love. My bag, she gasped, pointing weakly towards the back staff area. It's in the locker. Go get it, I said, my voice firm. Now, walk like you're going to the restroom. I'll be right behind you. I'll make sure no one stops you. Just get your things and meet me outside the staff entrance, in the alley. She nodded, A single, determined nod, wiping her face with the back of her hand. The fear was still there, but something else had joined it. A spark of courage, fueled by the desperate hope I had offered. She turned from me, trying to compose herself, then moved with quick, deliberate steps towards the staff entrance. I watched her go, my heart pounding. Reese had lowered his phone, his eyes still fixed on me. He took a step as if to approach. I straightened up, letting my own calm, confident public persona take over, the one I used on red carpets and in tough interviews. I met his gaze directly. I offered him a tight, unsmiling nod. It wasn't a friendly gesture. It was a challenge, a declaration. He might not know what I knew, but he knew instantly that the game had changed. His face went blank, then a flicker of cold calculation crossed his features. He knew. I didn't wait for him to approach. I turned and walked, not towards the main exit, but towards the staff entrance, following the path Nalani had just taken. This was it. The fight had begun, and I was walking right into the heart of it, not as Denzel Washington the actor, but as Denzel Washington the man, ready to burn it all down to protect what was right. The silence of the restaurant, the sudden shift in my direction, must have been jarring. I felt the ripple, the sudden hush as heads turned. But I didn't care. Nalani was out there, vulnerable, and I had to get to her. I had chosen. My steps were steady, but the roar in my ears wasn't from the restaurant noise. It was the blood thrumming through my veins. Reese was moving too, cutting a path through the tables. His face now a mask of cold suspicion. The polite smile he wore for guests was gone, replaced by a tight, hard line. He was still several yards away from me, but closing fast. I knew this confrontation was coming, and I was ready for it. Every instinct I had, honed over years of playing men who fought for what was right, screamed at me to stand my ground. "Sir, excuse me," Reese called out, his voice sharp, carrying just enough to turn a few heads. "The staff area is off limits to guests." He wasn't asking. He was ordering. His eyes were locked on mine, trying to assert his power, his control. He still didn't recognize me, or at least he was doing a good job of pretending he didn't. He just saw a customer going where he shouldn't. I stopped just shy of the swinging kitchen door, turning to face him fully. My stance was calm, my hands loose at my sides, but inside, I felt a tremor of pure, protective rage. "Is it?" I asked, my voice low, too quiet for anyone else to hear over the din of clinking silverware and conversation. "Funny, I thought it was my staff area." The words hit him like a physical blow. His eyes, already narrowed, widened a fraction, then flickered with sudden, dawning horror. The color drained from his face, just as it had from Nalani's moments before. He recognized me. The realization dawned on him, slowly, painfully. His mouth opened slightly, then snapped shut. He looked around wildly, as if expecting hidden cameras, hidden witnesses. He probably thought this was some kind of movie stunt, a test. But the hard truth in my eyes told him it was very real. "Mr. Washington?" he stammered, his voice losing its edge, becoming a pathetic croak. The change was instant, complete. The confident manager, the subtle predator, was gone. Only a terrified man stood before me. "That's right, Reese," I said, stepping closer. My voice still a whisper, but loaded with intent. "And I saw you. I heard you. I know exactly what you've been doing." His face crumpled, a mixture of fear and defiance warring in his eyes. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Everything is fine. The restaurant is running perfectly." He tried to regain his composure, to put on his professional mask, but it was shattered. He glanced quickly towards the staff entrance. He must have been worried about Nalani, about her coming out, about her being a witness. "Don't insult my intelligence, Reese," I said, cutting him off. "You've been using your position here, using my restaurant, to terrorize an employee. You've threatened her job, her home, her child. You think that's running perfectly?" The words were an accusation, a judgment. Just as the last word left my mouth, the swinging door to the staff area pushed open. Nalani stepped out, her small bag clutched tight in her hand. Her eyes, still red-rimmed, darted from me to Reese, then back. The fear was still there, a raw, exposed wound. But beneath it, a tiny flicker of resolve. She was ready to run. Reese saw her. His eyes went wide with panic. "Nalani!" he practically hissed, taking a step towards her, his hand reaching out. It was an involuntary reaction, a desperate attempt to silence her, to reassert control. But I was quicker. I moved between them, stepping directly into Reese's path, blocking him completely. My arm went out, not touching him, but a clear barrier. "Don't you dare touch her," I said, my voice rising a notch, no longer a whisper, just loud enough for the closest tables to hear. A few conversations died down. Heads turned. The elegant hum of the Lumina began to fracture. "She's a server, Mr. Washington. She's abandoning her shift," Reese stammered, his eyes darting frantically around the room, seeing the curious gazes, the sudden tension. He was trying to regain the upper hand, to make it look like I was causing a scene over a simple disciplinary matter. "She's a human being, Reese," I countered, my voice clear and strong now, cutting through the rising murmur. "And you've been extorting her, threatening her, using her child as leverage." The word, extorting, hung in the air, heavy and damning. More heads turned. The restaurant was falling silent, table by table, section by section. The elegant atmosphere I had worked so hard to create was dissolving, replaced by an uncomfortable hush. But I didn't care. Not anymore. Nalani, standing behind me, flinched, then stood a little straighter. She was still terrified, but my protection seemed to give her a sliver of courage. She watched Reese, her gaze steady, almost challenging. Reese's face was a study in pure horror. He knew he was caught. He knew his carefully built world was crashing down around him. He took a step back, shaking his head. "No, sir, that's not true. She's mistaken. This is a misunderstanding." "Is it?" I pressed, leaning into him slightly. "Because I have a team outside right now. A team that has been investigating your property dealings for the last 2 months. I've known about your little side business for a while, Reese, preying on vulnerable tenants, shaking them down for extra cash, threatening eviction. Nalani isn't the first, is she?" The restaurant was completely silent now. Every eye was on us. Nalani gasped behind me. Reese's eyes went dead. He hadn't just misjudged me. He had been walking into a trap he never even knew existed. The realization hit him, the final twist. My incognito visit wasn't just about checking on the restaurant, it was about him. This night wasn't an accident. It was the culmination of a plan. "My security detail has been gathering evidence," I continued, my voice now carrying throughout the entire dining room, resonating with a quiet power that commanded attention. "They have statements from other tenants, bank records, everything. The Friday night crying in the back of my restaurant was just the final piece of the puzzle. The proof I needed that your rot had spread into my own house." Just then, 2 large men in dark suits, my security team, walked calmly through the main entrance, their eyes scanning the room, then settling on Reese. They moved with purpose, flanking him within seconds. Reese tried to move, to protest, but their presence was overwhelming. They didn't touch him, but they didn't need to. He was trapped. "Reese Davies," one of the security men said, his voice flat, professional. "You're under arrest for multiple counts of fraud, extortion, and harassment. We have a warrant." He held up a folded document. Reese stared, his mouth agape. The color in his face never returned. He looked utterly broken, his carefully crafted life crumbling in an instant. He didn't fight. He just stood there, defeated. I turned slightly, addressing the room, my gaze sweeping over my shocked staff, over the stunned diners. This restaurant, the Lumina, was built to be a place of excellence, of opportunity, of respect. I said, my voice firm, embodying the vision I held so dear. Not a place where good people are exploited or made to suffer in silence. My eyes found Nalani's. "Nalani, you are safe. You and your child are safe. You are not losing your job. You are getting a promotion. You'll be working directly with me, helping to set up a new support system for all our staff, ensuring no one ever goes through what you did again." A wave of murmuring swept through the restaurant, but this time it wasn't confusion. It was something else. Relief. Awe. Some of the other servers, their faces pale, looked at Nalani with a mix of sympathy and newfound respect. They knew. They understood. Risa's reign of quiet terror was over. Nalani stared at me, tears streaming down her face again, but these were different tears. Tears of release, of overwhelming gratitude, of a burden finally lifted. She nodded, unable to speak, her hands still clutching her bag, but her shoulders were no longer shaking with despair, but with the quiet tremor of a new beginning. I looked at Reese one last time as my security team calmly led him away, out through the main entrance, past the now silent, watching crowd. He didn't even look back. He was a broken man, exposed and defeated. Turning back to Nalani, I offered her a small, gentle smile. "Come on," I said, my voice softer now. "Let's get you and your daughter settled. The Lumina is a family, Nalani, and we take care of our own." The restaurant remained hushed, a collective breath held, then slowly released. The elegant space was still beautiful, but now, finally, its soul had been cleansed. It was no longer just a restaurant. It was a symbol, a place where justice had been served, where a quiet predator had been brought down, and where a young woman, once broken, had found her voice and her future, all because a man decided to listen, to act, and to risk everything for what was right. The silence was not one of fear, but of profound understanding, of a promise renewed. The silence after Reese was led away felt like a physical thing, thick and heavy, pressing down on every surface in the elegant restaurant. I stood there for a moment, letting the sheer weight of what just happened settle over the polished tables and the stunned faces of the diners. It wasn't the kind of perfect calm I'd always envisioned for the Lumina, but in that moment, it felt intensely real, felt honest, and that, I knew deep in my gut, was better. I turned to Nalani. Her face was still wet with tears, but now, a fragile, trembling hope flickered in her eyes, a tiny spark in the lingering shadows. Her hands, still clutching her small bag as if it were her lifeline, trembled slightly. "Nalani," I said softly, stepping closer, making sure my voice wouldn't carry beyond us. I gently guided her towards a quiet alcove near the kitchen entrance, a less visible path away from the still lingering gazes of our guests. I know this was a lot, more than anyone should ever have to go through in their workplace. But it's over now, truly over. She looked up at me, her lower lip quivering, her breath catching. "Mr. Washington," I don't even know what to say. My head is spinning from all of this. "You don't have to say anything right now," I assured her, my voice firm and steady, trying to offer some of my own calm. "Just breathe, and know this, you are safe. Your daughter is safe. That's what matters most." I paused, making sure she met my gaze, holding it steady. "And about that promotion I mentioned earlier, I was absolutely serious. Completely. We have important work to do here at the Lumina to make sure this kind of cruelty never, ever happens again. You're going to help me lead it." Her eyes, which moments before had been so clouded with fear and fresh tears, slowly began to clear. A quiet, dawning understanding spread across her face. "Me? But I'm just a server. I don't know anything about leading a whole new program." "No, Nalani," I corrected gently, shaking my head. "You're not just a server. You are a survivor. You are brave. And because you lived through this, you know better than anyone what true changes need to be made, what people truly need to feel safe and valued in their workplace. That's exactly the kind of wisdom and experience we need at the heart of this new system." A small, weak smile finally touched her lips. It was fragile, like a delicate flower just opening, but it was the first truly genuine smile I'd seen on her face all night. It reached her eyes, making them glisten with a different kind of moisture. "My daughter," she whispered again, the worry still a deep part of her. "She'll be fine," I said, my voice strong, leaving no room for doubt. "Completely taken care of. Consider it part of your new benefits package. We'll find a great school for her. A safe, comfortable place for you both to live. Anything you need to get back on your feet and then some, we'll make it happen. I then turned slightly, so I could address the rest of my staff who were slowly gathering, their faces a mix of shock and dawning comprehension. Everyone, I said, my voice carrying clearly through the dining room, cutting through the growing murmur of the few remaining guests. I understand this has been unsettling, maybe even frightening for some of you, but I want to make one thing absolutely clear right here, right now. The Lumina is more than just a restaurant. It's a promise of excellence to our guests. Yes, that will never change. But also, and just as important, it's a promise of respect, dignity, and true opportunity to every single person who works here. I swept my gaze over their faces. They looked shaken, but also many of them looked deeply relieved. I could practically see the unspoken stories in their eyes, the shared understanding of what Reese had represented, the quiet fear they might have carried themselves, now slowly melting away. What happened tonight with Reese was a betrayal of that promise. I continued, my voice steady, filled with purpose. And it will not be tolerated. Not ever. From this moment on, we will work together, all of us, to build something stronger, something better here. A place where everyone feels safe, supported, and truly valued. If you have concerns, if you see injustice, no matter how small, I want you to know you can speak up. My door, and Nalani's door, will always be open to you. A wave of soft murmuring rippled through the staff this time, but it wasn't confusion. It was relief, pure and simple. A chef, a quiet man I recognized but rarely spoke to, gave a slow, thoughtful nod. A young hostess wiped a tear from her eye, a tear I knew wasn't just for Nalani, but for herself. The collective sigh of relief in that room was almost like a physical sound. I knew the restaurant couldn't just snap back to normal that night. So, I called over the head chef and the assistant manager, their faces still pale but attentive. Close the kitchen, I instructed quietly, keeping my voice calm. Comp every single one of our remaining guests' meals. Tell them we apologize deeply for the disruption tonight, but that some very important business had to be handled. Business that ultimately makes this restaurant stronger and better for everyone. We'll be open tomorrow, with a renewed spirit, ready to serve them with our absolute best. They looked surprised, but nodded, already moving to relay the orders. The diners, though many were still shell-shocked by the drama, seemed to appreciate the gesture. Some even offered quiet words of support and understanding as they slowly began to leave. The next few weeks were a blur of activity, a whirlwind of meetings and changes. Reese's arrest, of course, made headlines, but my team quickly worked to contain the story, making sure the focus stayed on my unwavering commitment to my employees and my vision for the Lumina. Strangely, after a temporary dip, the restaurant saw a surge in business, driven by a mix of curiosity, admiration, and a new kind of respect. People wanted to be part of a place that truly stood for something more. I felt a renewed energy myself, a sense of purpose I hadn't realized I'd been missing. I spent more time at the restaurant in those weeks than I had in years, and this time I didn't hide behind a disguise. I walked the floors as myself, Denzel Washington, the owner who truly cared. I sat in meetings not just with managers but with every level of staff, from the dishwashers to the sommeliers. We talked, truly talked, about their lives, their needs, their dreams. We designed new policies, new ways for people to voice their concerns anonymously, new support systems for anyone facing personal hardship, big or small. And Nalani, she was right there with me, every single step of the way, guiding, advising, speaking from her own powerful experience. She was incredible. The deep fear that had once clouded her eyes and defined her quiet movements was slowly, steadily, replaced by a growing confidence, a quiet strength that shone brighter than any spotlight. Her new role, Employee Well-Being Coordinator, was more than just a fancy title. It was a mission she poured her entire heart into. She had a small, comfortable office now, decorated with warm colors and a few photos of Maya. A quiet space where staff members could come to her, away from any prying eyes, knowing they would be heard without judgment. I watched her often, sometimes from a distance, sometimes through an open door, as she navigated these new waters. She listened with an empathy that only someone who had lived through similar struggles could possess. She helped a single mother navigate the complexities of finding affordable childcare. She mediated a quiet conflict between two longtime servers with a wisdom that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside her. She even helped a young busboy fill out applications for financial aid, encouraging him to chase his dream of college. Her radiant smile was truly back, but it was different now. It wasn't a mask she wore to hide pain. It was genuine, earned, shining from a place of deep peace and renewed hope. And her daughter, little Maya, a bright, bubbly girl with a laugh that could light up any room, was now attending a wonderful new school, blossoming under Nalani's lighter, happier spirit. I made sure to meet Maya properly, to spend some time with her. She reminded me of my own children, the pure, unfiltered joy they brought into the world. Seeing Nalani with her, truly happy and at peace, knowing I had played a part in making that possible, was a reward greater than any acting award I'd ever received. One evening, about 2 months after that fateful night when everything changed, I walked into the Lumina again. This time, I didn't hide. I walked in through the main entrance, nodded to the new hostess, a bright-eyed young woman Nalani had personally trained, and made my way directly to the elegant dining room. The familiar hum of happy chatter, the soft clinking of glasses, and the gentle music filled the air. It was the atmosphere I had always dreamed of for my restaurant, but now it felt richer, more authentic, more alive. I found a quiet table in the corner, not to hide or observe unseen, but to simply absorb the atmosphere, to take it all in. I watched the staff. There was a lightness to their movements, a genuine warmth in their interactions with each other and with the guests. I saw Nalani, no longer in a server's uniform, but in a smart, professional outfit, moving gracefully through the dining room. She wasn't taking orders. She was checking in, offering a kind word here, a gentle suggestion there, a quiet presence that seemed to make everything run smoother. Her presence was calming, a quiet strength that had become the backbone of the Lumina's new spirit. She caught my eye from across the room and gave me a small, knowing smile, a smile that spoke volumes without a single word of gratitude, of shared victory, of a truly new beginning for all of us. I smiled back, a warmth spreading through my chest, a deep sense of rightness. The cost of that night, the loud scene, the public spectacle, the temporary upset, it was all very real. It was a risk, a big one, for my reputation, for my business. But looking around now, seeing the genuine contentment on my staff's faces, seeing Nalani thriving, I knew it was worth every single moment of discomfort. The Lumina had been cleaned, not just of a bad person, but of the quiet, fearful silence that allowed such rot to grow. It wasn't just a restaurant anymore. It was truly a community, a family, a place built on trust. My heart felt full, a quiet, deep sense of purpose settling over me. This was why I did it. Not for fame, not for money, not for any personal glory, but for moments like these. To use what I had, who I was, to make a real difference in someone's life, in many lives. To remind myself, and to show everyone else, that true excellence isn't just about perfect dishes or elegant decor. It's about the people who make it all happen. It's about integrity. It's about creating a space where everyone can shine, truly shine. The Lumina now shone brighter than ever, not just with its polished silver and gleaming crystal, but with the quiet resilience and renewed hope of its people. I felt a peace I hadn't felt in a long, long time, a profound, lasting sense of peace, one that reached deep into my soul. I knew, though, that my work wasn't entirely done. The Lumina was a start, a beautiful example of what could be, a model for others. But there were other places, other people, out there in the world who needed help, who needed someone to listen, someone to stand up for them. This experience had opened my eyes to the quiet battles fought every single day, battles often hidden behind brave, professional smiles. And I found myself wondering, where else could I make a difference? What other promises could I help keep? The world was full of stories waiting to be told, waiting for someone to listen and to act. and I felt a stirring inside, a readiness to hear them. What did this story teach you about speaking up and fighting for what's right? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more stories that will change how you see the world.